And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Strategic Command, Cold Arms Campaign, or Strategic Command World War I, the Cold Arms Campaign as the Entente Powers. We're picking up from where we left off last time. We got the Ottomans on the ropes here. In the previous part, we just got how to describe it? We just got Bulgaria to surrender, which I believe is being occupied technically by the Russians at this point. Romania has joined the war, which has opened up a big, long front against the Austro-Hungarians, which is not covered by the Austro-Hungarians, so we'll see how the Austro-Hungarians respond to that as we play this out. The first call for armistice has already been offered, and we turned it down. So the Ottomans are still in the war, although they're down to 2.6 thousand, 2.7 thousand-ish. So it's not going to take very much more to get them to surrender completely. Probably just occupying, like, 2 main objectives here will be enough. So it should be the bottom of the turn here. The question is, what do I want to do? Okay, these guys can't heal, but they can start marching. So I'll continue marching them towards some objectives against the Ottomans. I can upgrade you. Let's get you your upgraded infantry weapons, because you're not currently engaged. Can we upgrade? We can't upgrade the guys that are engaged, obviously. But I can upgrade the guys who are not in physical contact. What is the upgrade on the artillery here? Artillery weapons, so it'll make them more effective. Yeah, let's upgrade them so we can get that little bit more effectiveness. Is this going to reset the number of shells? Good question. No, which is good. Okay. Do you want to upgrade the detachment? You know, I'll upgrade the detachment and the colonial corps here. In 2v4 and 1v3, little questioning on whether or not I want to be taking swings. Although 1v3 is not too bad. We'll take 1v3. Ends up being 2v4, and then 1v5 is not very bad. Part of this is the supply situation is becoming really, really poor for them down here, because we've cut their main rail line through. That's a good question. I don't think that is a national objective. Now we've had the troops, we can see. Yeah, no, we got to go a little bit farther. Mon and Jerusalem are. Okay, and then the Ottomans here, or the, well, the rest of the Ottomans here. Rating 0-0s. We'll take 0-0 swings. Chance it'll blow back in our face. Or, like that, we get lucky and do get a hit off. Okay. Okay. That's the state of affairs on that front. Could move that garrison, but we'll leave the garrison there. Unlike on the Ottoman front, where we're in fact, this is probably the reason we didn't do very much damage against the HQ, because it is up in the snow. A lot of our other fronts, because winter has arrived, it's December, we're not going to be doing a lot of actual shooting, I think, out in the snow. So we're just not going to have viable attacks here. We got some recon armors here. We'll fly them in closer. Regenerate that one. Start merging this one back. 8 of 10 is probably good enough for deployment. And then we'll get these guys deployed with the operational movement. So the hope here is that we can kind of just push into the exposed Austrian forces and overwhelm them. We're not really, because of the weather, in a good position to necessarily attack, but simply come up and be an affirmative pressure on their forces so that they can't attack themselves, and so they have to loot themselves. They have to keep moving themselves around to deal with the evolving situation. We need to wait for more shells here, because we're going to want to de-entrench Trento. We've got 5 shells here, which probably is enough if I really wanted to attack. This is well, I'm saying this is bad weather. I'm looking at units that have got like 4 entrenchment. We're still expecting to do 1 damage against them. So maybe it's not that bad. Well, or they're really starting to suffer. Is maybe where they're at as well. Yeah, we're looking at the point where they're really starting to suffer. Question is, do I gamble on there being better weather next turn? As the Russians here, we only get gas shell production 2. So they're only getting 3 shells a turn on these guns. So you'll be full next turn. You'll be full next turn. So there's an argument that I can happily wait here, and the guns can wait until next turn. Right? We can hope for better weather. I think that's what I'm going to try to take. Let's not get ahead of ourselves because the enemy looks weak. This is a marathon, not a sprint at this point. Okay, so we got 2 Italian destroyers here. That's a Austro-Hungarian destroyer. Okay. So let's use the Dreadnoughts to get rid of the destroyer. Destroyer survives. Do have subs though. There's the sub. One of the subs. Mostly intact. I think it's only like a 10% chance we actually hit with this. You know, I'll take it. Interceptors. So we're gonna get absolutely mauled here. Yeah, we don't do any damage. Bit of a shame. Push you back to port. The subs are in port, so we're not gonna be able to take swing with them. We're gonna use the strike on that one. Yeah. So I want to bring another Dreadnought up. It's this one. Let's bring this one around anyway. We're not going to take a swing with it. not in a position to bombard the Asia core here. Although we do have the Asia core encircled here in Gallipoli. Which, to be fair, the enemy could probably abandon if it wanted to abandon. I don't think it's going to. I don't think they're going to. Get you repaired. Can't quite get you repaired, but 8's going to be good enough. Okay, that cuts the road there. We'll see how they retaliate to that cavalry division. They may not give up the towns, or they may give up the towns. I'm not sure which they'll do. Don't want that fortress falling in enemy hands. We'll just occupy it. Okay, you can dig in there, so you'll dig in there. So I think that's most of the Eastern Front. Because we're not going to be in position. Yeah, 3-0. There's probably someone on Aleppo, so there's no point running north to Aleppo. We'll just sit on the city there and threaten the rail line here. Oh, that's actually probably what's great. We'll move and take the swing to the aircraft. And then jump back to the road. And we worked out the Italian front because the artillery doesn't have the shells, and it's snowing is not going to be a good place to attack. And it's snowing here, so unless there's a really good reason, I think we're best off not starting fights. It may be, well, it is worth advancing. We should not be static in the face of the enemy. The good old-fashioned take one step forward, put some trenches in, is good in this weather. The enemy is not everywhere. Tempting to take this one on that artillery, but no, I think we'll dig in. Turn the trench around. Near the front. And you use too many action points, you can't dig in. And then we just keep everything trying to keep up, I think. We had ground attack, and we don't have ground attack on these bombers. It would be tempting to take swings at the aircraft. And then the naval front, we don't know if we had any raiders on the raiding line. We were facing guys up here, but I think they've pulled back. Dangerous last words some days. the Dreadnought take over that spot in the line. Pull the carrier out of the line and swap it out with this light cruiser. And I suspect there's subs somewhere. Just don't know where they got off to. Oh, you need to come back in for resupply. You're not damaged enough that I'm going to put you on port, but... Unlike these destroyers where I'm like, yeah, no, the destroyers need to be intact. Swing you around to there. Oh, you should go to port to get repaired. Just get the curious together for the moment. Let's move the battleships to the second battle line. Second blockade line. Well, the old pre-dreadnought battleships. Replacing with cruisers and dreadnoughts and stuff. Motor torpedo boat. Like that. Okay, given that I don't necessarily know a lot about the status of the German Navy, I think that is a good place to finish the naval movements for a while. We got a good solid blockade there in the North Sea. A little bit less so in the Northern blockade, Scottish blockade. Then we get into purchasing and research. Okay, we don't know replacements that need to go out, so we might hold on to the British stuff for research. The French can both pick up an airship, a fighter, and a recon bomber. I'm tempted to pick up these bombers, these aircraft. Really need ground attack 2 for the bombers to be good bombers. But this is an improvement, we'll take it. Ground attack bombers, of course, are less of the case, where they're actually decent with ground attack 1. Even got the entrenchment 1. And yeah, I'll grab the airship here for the French. The Italians probably want to save it for their artillery. Their second artillery. And then like Serbia is deployed as much as it's going to be until well, Serbia's deployed as much as it's going to be. Romania is probably where we want to be spending with the Russians. Did I put a bunch of cores in already for them? Yeah, I got 2 cores and artillery piece coming in. I can pick a fighter up on them, which we'll do. And what about an HQ? HQ would be doable. Let's grab a second HQ for them. Which is the Russians. The Americans aren't going to have much. Okay. So then research. Research should be pretty easy. No American, no Russian, no Serbian. We're saving it for artillery here. For the Italians. The French can spend anything that's below 50 or below. Although that's probably not anything that we want to do. We're not caring about subs. Oh, I suppose if we're going to use airships, which I just picked up another one up, I should pick up the airship one. Pick that up as well. Okay. And the British have got the most to spend. Command and control, infantry is looking good. Aerial's coming along. Invest in the last industry tech. So if the game goes long enough, we can max out the industry tech. Got an anti-submarine coming along. I haven't picked up naval weaponry. Let's pick up the naval weaponry as the British. And long-range aircraft. Okay. You know, I will take mobility. At some point, we might want the stuff in the east to move a little bit faster for the British. I think that's a British investment for the turn. So let's cycle the turn. Let's see how the Central Powers continue to respond to the Romanian situation. The Romanian and the Bulgarian situation for them. The weather was bad for us. There is no guarantee it will be bad for them. Loss of grain leads to hunger in Austria-Hungary. The ascension of Kaiser Karl increases nationalist aspirations for Austria-Hungary. Czechoslovakian volunteer corps forms in Italy. Central Power raiders disrupt Greece-UK convoy. So one of the subs is out in the Mediterranean. Entente naval units north of Scotland block imports to Germany. And in the North Sea. German colonizers Mao attacks trade from the British Empire. Buffalo Bill Cody dies at age 70. Breakthrough on a submarine and infantry. Aerial hits level 1. Infantry weapons 2 for the French. France develops long-range aircraft level 1. And a submarine level warfare 1. Armored warfare level 3. Trench warfare is max for the French. The Americans got an infantry weapon breakthrough. Looks like it's going to be snowing for the Central Powers, but not snow for the Central Powers. Although the mud's probably almost as bad for what they're trying to do. That is the exposed one in our line there, so we'll see how badly or well this goes for the Germans. I think it's de-entrenched AI. Although at this point that means I have to send the infantry in, and maybe they don't have the infantry to do that. And here comes the infantry, and yeah, they got enough to take it out, so we did lose the infantry. Not surprising after such a heavy artillery bombardment. There's the Ottoman's pre-dreadnought. If it's still out there, we might be able to get the dreadnought after it. There's the end of the turn. Loss of grain, leading to hunger. Blockade, and the other blockade. Darn, it's still going to be snow for us. So not a good turn for us to actually attack. Winter is still here. February 24th. The 21st Corps was destroyed. First Lord of the Admiralty, Sir Edward Carson. Sir Edward Carson. The Japanese Navy has a flotilla of modern destroyers available to service in the war. We can either use these to deal with the German commerce freighters operating the Pacific and Indian Oceans, or we can ask the Japanese to sail to Gibraltar. From there, we could use them in either the Mediterranean or the Atlantic. Would you like them to remain in the Indian Ocean, or would you like them to sail to Gibraltar? If you say yes, the operation of the Japanese Navy in the Pacific and Indian Oceans will have the effect of reducing the effectiveness of German commerce freighters. If you say no, a full-strength destroyer with full research will deploy at Gibraltar in April 1917. During the war, Japan completed the British request to send ships to the Mediterranean. Ultimately, 20 Japanese vessels were based at Malta. From here, they provided escorts to shipping, coming under attack in June 1917 when an Austro-Hungarian submarine torpedoed the Sakaki destroyer. The destroyer side, many of the crew were lost. So the historical option would be to hit no, I think here, but we're gonna hit yes. We're gonna have them deal with the enemy commerce raiders off map. And we got more of our destroyers that we queued up as the British. Beginning their deployments. And the first detachment. Apparently I'm not allowed to deploy in Medina, but that's probably where we're going to leave it. We're going to have it near us in Medina's capital. And then the French's first tank corps has deployed, although it'll need a turned upgrade. We have improvements. Okay, that's our deployment of new troops. We definitely want you to heal. That's going to be the case. We probably want you to heal. And down here in the desert, we're going to march up, try to pick up that location. We're going to try to come around on the flank here. Probably do... Yeah, it's going to be good enough for recovery here. 2, 3, okay. And you've got enough shells, yeah. Weather's not perfect down here in the desert, but the weather is good enough. Ow. Yeah, we're gonna have you dig in there. Move you back to improve the supply of the HQ. Move you forward. Yeah, we don't have the ability to heal here. can take these swings, because 0-0s may turn into 1-1s. I think we're good at potentially taking 1-1s. Okay. Okay, that wasn't a particularly great trade. Do I have you on? There we go. Try the cruiser. Less likely to take damage to the air wing. Still take damage to the air wing. Okay, we know the armored cruiser's there. Okay. Successfully delivered some hits there. We're definitely pressuring the Ottomans. The weather is maybe not as conducive to the offensive as I would like. But we are going to try to attack so we don't waste shells. Okay, we're definitely threatening a lot of Ottoman locations. The question is, can we push into them cost-effectively in the next couple turns? And of course, the weather here, again, it's not particularly conducive to attacking. Take their artillery weapon upgrade while we're waiting for better weather. So yeah, obviously that unit probably won't be able to reinforce because it's now encircled. We're threatening more Austro-Hungarian units encirclement, and we can use operate in even more forces to continue circling units. So even if the weather's not necessarily conducive this turn for attacking, it's not very conducive for the Ottomans, or for the Austro-Hungarians to defend. Okay, let's recon run you. I'm going to de-entrench you. That's not to waste shells, and probably destroy that specific one. The weather's not conducive to attacking, but there's not conducive to attacking, and we still got the enemy dead to rights going on here. Okay. Time to do something similar up here. With this artillery piece. We got 8 shells. We probably don't have the action points necessarily to follow up an attack into the fortress. Although we're getting 1-to-1s on the fortress even before we de-entrench it. So let's go for that de-entrenchment. Oh, we don't actually have the strike range. Different problem. Okay, we're gonna buy one more turn. We'll probably get better weather in one more turn once the planes are in range. We'll waste a couple shells. It'll be fine. Although I've got some 0-1s here. We'll probably take the 0-1s. Punish the Germans for going into the swamp. Oh, and those guys need to heal before we push them back into the front. Okay, I think that's the eastern front. Interceptors. Recon runs getting struck. Okay, so we know the destroyer is either still in that port or has wandered farther up the way. I'm gonna risk. Okay, so it's not in fact in that port, so it is farther up the way. It's not in that one. Probably ran up into those ones then. We're waiting for shells here. The Italians don't generate shells particularly fast. And the weather's still not... Well, in a way, I'd actually argue the weather is better in the Alps than it is most other places, but the weather is still not conducive in the Alps for attacking. Same sort of thing in the Western Front. Yeah, we're gonna be waiting for better weather, I think. We did get infantry weapon upgrades, so let's start passing that out to the French who are not directly in the face of the enemy. Oh, and we got the, what's that, the bomb upgrade? Fighter development and long range. Ooh. Yeah, okay. And the bomb upgrade, yeah. I wonder if I've got upgrades for the British. That's infantry upgrade weapon? Yeah. And the artillery is okay. Okay. We're gonna more up to the blockade. Although I think the war will probably be won on land, not at sea per se. Although to the degree that it's going to be won at sea is maybe it had been won already with the big exchange. Okay. So the French have no more upgrades because no research / recruiting this turn because we spent it all. Is there more recruiting I want to do for the Romanians? Could grab a couple of detachments, but I don't think that's worth it. If we needed more corps, we can grab Russian corps, but I think we want to probably do research with the Russians instead. We could benefit from a little more logistics, so I'll pick that up. We'll pick up mobility. And maybe the ground attacks. So the recon bombers can be a little more dangerous. And then the fighters. Okay, so if the 100-something here is either going into diplomacy or recruitment. Not going to bother with the airships with the Russians. And there's no aircraft to pick up. So, can we do diplomacy with the Russians? We can spend 1 chit. It's not enough to work on the USA. Already got 3 invested in Sweden, so that's probably actually enough on Sweden. 2 hits would bring them to where we want them. Let's do 1 more on Denmark. In theory, I only need 1 hit to get what I want off of Denmark. But putting 2 shits in gives us twice the probability that we hit that 1 hit. Serbia could do a chit. Of course, Serbia doesn't really have much to spend. I should not do a chit with them. Or the okay, so we're down to the British. So it's British research. Oh, do the British have anything to purchase first? Nothing in a rush. Although we are at the point where we can get decent stuff off of the Greeks. Fighters, bombers, artillery. Artillery would be useful, so let's grab the artillery. And then research-wise, we've got like 60 left. Put another one to fighter development, get going a bit faster. And then let's cycle the turn, see how the Central Powers are continuing to respond. Their situation right now is being protected sort of by the weather. Once the weather improves, I think they'll be in a lot more pain. Loss of grain, still providing hunger in Hungary. Austro-Hungarian authorities suppress a naval mutiny at Pula. Central Powell raiders disrupt Canada-UK convoys. Got hit with rough seas. Entente naval units north of Scotland blockade imports to Germany. Entente naval units blockade imports to Germany in the North Sea. German commerce raider Siedler attacks shipping in the Pacific. Austro-Hungarian national morale falls below 25%. Scientists report progress in airship development. Just short of getting the next tech level on that. Gas shell production up. Production level 3 for the British. Gas shell production 2 for the Italians. Production technology breakthrough for Serbia. Industry breakthrough for Serbia. Russia's develop infantry warfare level 3. Here we go. So it looks like it's going to be mostly mud in certain theaters, which is definitely better than snow. Whether enough that's enough to stop them attacking is a different question. Fighter 4s don't work. Oh, ground attack bombers. Oh no, those were heavy bombers. Hitting the logistical line. Ottoman infantry trying to break out of encirclement, and, well, it's going to take more than one infantry for them to break out, so. Well, new Austro-Hungarian dreadnought, or not dreadnought, destroyers deploying. Not a good place for them to deploy, but their attrition suffered on that core. Okay. And they're still suffering Hungary. Still suffering hunger in Hungary and Austria. US protests the use of unrestricted naval warfare. Okay, so they snuck a merchantman through without me noticing. Okay, we're definitely having better weather for our attacks in the next turn. Now the destroyer is the British. They're raiding somewhere. Colonial Corps for the French. Another airship. Remaining in artillery. Remaining corps. Remaining corps. And the HQ. Yeah, I think we'll start the turn. We might not do this full turn in this part, because we got, like, I want to keep these about an hour long. We got, like, six or so minutes left. Actually, hearing me say that, I think I should probably put the part break in here. Here's probably a good place for the part break. We've definitely got them on the back foot. Let's take a quick look at the reports. Loss-wise, the German losses are rising. They nearly make up 50% of the losses themselves at 47%. The Austro-Hungarians another 15%, and the Ottomans another 11%. The UK has 10%, the Russians at 5%, 2% as Serbia, 1% as Italy, and 9% as France. So yeah, the UK and all those boats we lost. I suspect that's where that number is coming from. Here's the detailed losses. 54 infantry corps as Austria-Hungary have been lost. Both 57 as the Germans. 17 Austria-Hungary. 11 Ottomans. So both Austria-Hungary and Ottomans are in the double digits. Only France is joined by them. And then, yeah, the bulk of the British force loss is actually in naval units. And then national morale. British is holding reasonably steady at 88%. 84% as the French. 88% as the Italians. 81% as the Serbians. 91% as the Russians. The Americans have yet to join the war. The Germans are down to 30%. The Austro-Hungarians have dropped below 25%, and they're at 23%. The Ottomans are back down to 5%, after they got the national morale boost from me not sending an overture for armistice. So there's not much left in the Ottomans at this point. And that is the state of the war. So I suspect we've got the Ottomans to the point where if I occupy 2 of the national morale objectives, maybe even just 1 of the national morale objectives, they're going to collapse. And I'm saying that as we're threatening 1, 2, maybe even threatening that one. We're threatening these ones, we're going to have to back off if we want to keep that guy intact. We're threatening that one. This is Constantinople, which is 1. We're threatening enough of the Ottoman stuff. The Ottomans are going to go soon. And then with that, we're going to control the rail lines, and all the stuff down here in the Middle East is going to hop on a train and show up on the Austro-Hungarian border real fast. And this is a very holy front line versus a very almost full front line, and that's only going to get worse as more forces come out of the Middle East. It's wholly on the Western Front, and the weather is going to start is improved enough. I think we're going to be able to start attacking here and attacking over here. And yeah, we shall over the next couple parts see the Central Powers fall one by one. I think the biggest question is who's going to fall first, Austria-Hungary or Germany? Because the game ends when Germany collapses. And I'm not sure Germany is actually going to hold out longer than Austria-Hungary at this rate. But we shall see. If you're watching on YouTube, there will be another part up tomorrow. We're going to record well, we might not go 4 parts. We're going to try to record 4 parts tonight. We'll see where we are at the end of the 4th part, or if we even get to the 4th part. If it looks like I can finish it in an additional part, I'll do 5 parts tonight, just to get the run done. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. We're going to take a short break so I can stretch the legs and sip some tea, and then we'll be back to recording. Recording the push into Germany, because we're in Germany proper here. We're arguably in Germany proper on the Eastern Front as well, although we got a lot of Poland to liberate. That's occupied. Poland's the one place where we've got occupation. Well, actually, there's a little bit of Serbia that's held by the Central Powers as well. Oh, and a little bit of Italy. Although we hold a little bit of Austria-Hungarian exchange there. But yeah, we'll be back. So until the next part, I wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part. And bye for now.